Good evening, everyone. What a great day it is. I'd like to first invite Dr. Colonel Pant on the dais, Dr. Vipin Gupta. Good evening, everyone. What a great day it is. I'd like to
Ramesh Sarin,
first invite
guest of honor,
Dr. Colonel Pant on the dais, Dr.
Shiv
Vipin
Sarin,
Gupta.
our guest of honor.
Good evening, everyone. What a great day it is. I'd like to
Ramesh Sarin,
first invite
guest of honor,
Dr. Colonel Pant
guest
on the
of
dais,
evening,
Dr.
Shiv
Vipin
Sarin,
Gupta.
our guest of
Honorable
honor, Shri Justice N.V. Ramana,
Good evening, everyone.
Chief Justice of India.
What a great day it is. I'd
Mrs.
like to
Ramesh Sarin,
first invite
guest of honor,
Dr. Colonel Pant
guest
on the
of
dais,
evening,
Dr.
Shiv
Vipin
Sarin,
Gupta.
our guest of
Honorable
honor, Shri Justice N.V. Ramana,
Good evening, everyone.
Chief Justice of India.
What a great day it is.
Every drop of water,
I'd like to
Ramesh Sarin,
first invite
guest of honor,
Dr. Colonel Pant on the dais,
every step walked a human mile, every helping hand a human chain. Each and every one of you present here today, colleagues, friends, family, make our spines straighter and our heads held high. Thank you for being with us today. My special welcome to our chief guest today, Honorable Shri Justice N.V. Ramana, Chief Justice of India, and his spouse, Madam Shivamala Nuthalapatti. You have spared time out of your very busy schedule to be with us. A very, very warm welcome to our guests of honor, Dr. Shiv Sarin, teacher, mentor, guide to several gastroenterologists, Vice Chancellor of the Institute of Liver and Biliary Sciences. Thank you, sir. And Dr. Mrs. Ramesh Sarin, Senior Consultant Oncosurgeon, Indraprastha Apollo Hospitals, Delhi. She is perhaps the senior-most breast surgeon in the country practicing today and is still happy operating 16 hours a day. Before I hand over the mic to my mentor and co-author, Colonel Pant, let me tell you some very amazing facts about this multifaceted man. A man of many firsts, a man of various interests. An awardee of the Vishesh Seva Medal, he saved the lives of over 100 soldiers while serving at the front in the 1971 war. Father of breast imaging in this country, he is the founder president of the Breast Imaging Society of India, and this is his third book on breast imaging. In the 90s, even as a senior consultant at Holy Family Hospital, there were many an occasion when I would run to him for a second opinion on a mammogram. There he would unconditionally spend time and spare his knowledge. A teacher par excellence. I am proud to be associated with him for the last 13 years. Passionate about spreading awareness of breast cancer, Sir is the co-chairperson of the NGO Forum for Breast Cancer Protection, of which Dr. Mrs. Sarin is the chair and I an executive member. Extremely close to his heart is the upliftment of society. He started the first ever mobile health van in the hills. This was inaugurated by the then president, APJ Abdul Kalam. He serves as the chairman of Arohi, an NGO in the village Sartoli near Mukteshwar. The NGO strives for education, health, and women empowerment. He and his wife, Dr. Geeta Pant, spend a fair amount of time working at the grassroots level. And in fact, I know on many an occasion, Madam spends more time talking to the women, finding out about their problems. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Vaneeta, for such wonderful words. Honorable Shri Justice Ramana, Chief Justice of India, Dr. Shiv Sarin, Vice Chancellor of the prestigious Institute of Liver and Biliary Sciences, Dr. Mrs. Sarin, distinguished breast surgeon and currently senior consultant Onco surgery at Apollo Hospital, Dr. Vipin Gupta was the managing director of Arya Publishing House, the publisher of the book, Dr. Vaneeta Kapur, my esteemed colleague, and Dr. Sen, who is sitting in front, is the co-author of the book, and my dear friends. I'm very delighted to welcome you all today for the launch of our book, Atlas of Elastography and Ultrasound-Guided Fine Needle Cytology. As many of you know, I've spent the past 3.5 decades in breast practice. This has given me an opportunity to work with the analog machine of yesteryears to the present-day digital technology. In fact, my tryst with ultrasound began with a single handheld static device and a water bath way back in 1982 while I was serving DRDO, which for my younger colleague present here today is probably an antiquity. Imaging has indeed moved forward by leaps and bounds in the last few decades. Dr. Mrs. Sarin will bear me out. It is not unusual for us in the practice to see unilateral developing breast bud in a normal girl to be treated as a breast lump with excision and the mutation of the breast of a pivotal girl, leaving her scarred for her life. Ever so often, we have seen a woman with a large part of her breast being removed for a lump suspected to be malignant and was ultimately turned out to be benign. This brings me to the most important question, why this atlas? In the practice of breast radiology, we often come across situations where we are unable to decide whether the lesion is cancerous or non-cancerous. As you may be aware, there is a breast imaging reporting and data system atlas, which is called as BIRADS atlas. This was introduced by the American College of Radiology to standardize the taxonomy globally. Based on this, I won't go much details this thing, but just for my non-radiologist colleagues, I would like to say a few things. That we divide into, there are 5 categories which we call the BIRADS categories. BIRADS category 1, when the examination is normal, it could be, and this is applicable to mammography initially, then ultrasound, and now in MRI also. So when we say category 1, it is a normal. When category 2, these are all our interpretation, which we do on our imaging. Category 2 is benign, so we don't ever. Category 3 is probably benign. So for benefit of my non-radiologist colleagues who are present here in large number today, I would request you that don't panic if you get a record of BIRADS 1, 2, and 3. They are very safe. One doesn't have to worry. And this has come with a lot of deliberations, with a lot of experience that we have said BIRADS 1 and 2 and 3. So whenever in practice you get BIRADS 1, 2, and 3, just don't bother, because BIRADS 3 is the only thing which we follow after 6 months. Now, category 5 is very, very highly suggestive malignancy, so we don't have to worry. Only problem is with BIRADS category 4. Now, BIRADS category 4, it is subdivided in BIRADS category 4A, B, and C. Now, B and C is largely this, they are highly suspicious of malignancy, so we don't bother about it. BIRADS category 4A, where the possibility of malignancy is only 2 to 10%. And these are the lesions which actually were very difficult to this thing, because 4A is likely malignant, 3 is benign. And there where we have to actually take a decision. So this is where we have explained the role of, in our atlas, role of elastography and fine needle guided FNAC. Coming to the topic of elastography, as elastography is basically an ultrasound-based tool in the diagnostic armamentarium of breast lesions. This has been both exciting and a revolution. As the name suggests, what is elastography? Elastography evaluates the elastic nature of the breast lesion. Non-cancerous, when you feel, those gynecologists who are present here, when you feel lump, if it is soft, it is pliable, it's likely to be benign, it will come soft on elastography. If it is hard, difficult to feel, it will come hard on elastography. So that is how basically this is, I'm not going to technical details, but this is just to say what is the principle of elastography. Although simple, now as I said that there's Bayer's Atlas, which was latest was published in 2013, is actually Bible for all the breast radiologists, because this is the international recognized atlas for practice of breast practice. Now, unfortunately, though in Bayer's, actually it was published in 2013, so I'm sure it must be due now for any time it should be coming the next atlas. But they have elastography, they have said mammography, ultrasound, MRI, they subscribe to these breast lesion categorization, but not elastography, which is rather surprisingly. It is our considered opinion as evidence from our cases that in vast majority, this modality has been our blessing. This tool has helped us differentiate as I just said, that category 3, Bayer's 3 from Bayer's category 4A. And where many times, because we are unable to decide, so the surgeons, we have a senior onco surgeon sitting here, they go for biopsies and all that. And so to avoid this unnecessary biopsies, I think the role of elastography and fine needle aspiration cytology, which we have just covered in our atlas. Though ultrasound-guided breast biopsy, we are not doubting the role of biopsy, because biopsy remains the ultimate gold standard. Though ultrasound-guided breast biopsy remains the gold standard for both diagnosis malignant breast disease and providing histocompatibility markers, however, as radiologists and clinicians, it is important to remember that India is a country of contrasts. What is available in tier 1 and tier 2 cities is not widely available in vast majority of cases. Unfortunately, when we attend all conferences, we talk about this, and especially when we are all talking metropolis, and we are talking about tier 1 where we have all the facilities. Unfortunately, we don't talk about tier 2 and tier 3 cities where there is hardly any facility available, and our 80% of population reside there. We reiterate that in the hands of experienced cytopathologists, we are very fortunate to have Dr. Vishwajit Sen with us. A judicially performed ultrasound-guided FNAC provides an accurate diagnosis differentiating benign from malignant pathology. This is ultrasound-guided FNAC is least invasive, inexpensive, and is done as a simple OPD procedure that we do all the time. The report is available within 24 hours, allaying the patient and family anxiety, and provides a basic roadmap for our further action. As we know, ultrasound is widely available as an imaging modality in every nook and cranny of this country. Addition of elastography and development of ultrasound-guided cytology as a specialty in tier 2 and tier 3 cities will have a transformative impact on the lives of women and also reduce burden of expensive facilities in tier 1 cities. We have presented in this atlas 125 cases to highlight both the role of often malign ultrasound-guided FNAC and the importance of elastography in dedicated breast practice in differentiating these lesions. Beyond this atlas, it will be our endeavor to spread this awareness and contribute to building this capability through various professional forums and establish institutional mechanisms. All that having been said, a practice-oriented endeavor such as this atlas produces best results when it is a team effort. I must acknowledge the two co-authors of this atlas, Dr. Vaneeta Kapur, who has meticulously performed all ultrasound examinations and critically analyzed all the mammograms that are in the atlas. Dr. Vaneeta has been associated with me for over a decade now. She has worked tirelessly, driving positive outcomes for the medical community, patients, and their caregivers. The second author, Dr. Vishwajit Sen, is an outstanding cytopathologist and is associated with the renowned Delhi-based Dr. Dang's lab. Dr. Sen's report have at times refuted many established Histopathology. When we talk about histopathology, I'm talking about the biopsy report where the big chunk of tissue is available for the interpretation. Only to proven, many times we have seen and we have reported in our case studies also that what he said as a final respiration with the help of few cells, the big biopsy also was proved wrong at times. Thank you, Dr. Sen, for your wonderful contribution. My team that actively contributed to this endeavor are the late Dr. Padmavati, many people know her as Chinna Dua, for her sorting and sequentially arranging the cases. An effervescent, multifaceted personality with a keen eye for analyzing mammogram. Chinna succumbed to COVID-19. That was very unfortunate that both Chinna and Vinod, they succumbed to COVID. And then this book is an ode to her. May God bless her soul. Dr. Shri Bhavna, who is present with us here, an emerging star who critically went through each case, extensively researched the content and compiled the bibliography. Bhavna has also spent a large amount of her personal time in helping to put together these cases. Thank you, Bhavna, for your efforts. The excellent images which appear in the atlas are due to the direct effort of Monica Matthew. She is sitting somewhere at the back. Where is Matthew? Matthew is there. Yeah, she is who has been working with me since the inception, and also Renu Patwal. I think Renu is also sitting somewhere. The young, energetic technologist who has helped us go through every image in text. These two are wonderful technologists with us. Seema is also present here. He has been my assistant for more than 2 decades, and who I call my Woman Friday. And Dharmender, our office assistant, who is not here today, is responsible for all the logistic support. I will fail in my duty if I do not put my appreciation for record on all these people. I would also like to thank the publisher, and, Dr. Vipin Gupta is here, for his inputs and trust in making this atlas a reality. Also, my thanks to Mr. Rajiv Manchanda, he is also present here, of Laser Tech Prints, who worked meticulously for the layout of the content. And finally, to my partner, for life, my biggest critic. I think most of us have critic at home. My wife, Dr. Geeta Pant. Thanks, madam, for your all the support. Thank you all for your support and taking time to be here with us. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
This mask on, mask off. Anyway, thank you, everybody. I now would like our chief guest to formally launch the Atlas, along with our guests of honor, Dr. Shiv Sarin, Dr. Madam Mrs. Sarin. I'd request Dr. Biswajit Sen, our co-author, to kindly join us on the days for the same. Dr. Vipin Gupta. It's quite simple to open, actually, and I must thank my daughter-in-law for the wonderful packing. Thank you so much. Thank you for that. Now, let me introduce you to our esteemed publisher, Dr. Vipin Gupta, MD, MD 2 ways, right? MD Internal Medicine. He is a graduate of Maulana Azad Medical College and went on to do his MD at Rohtak Medical College in Internal Medicine. His lovely wife, Dr. Seema Gupta. A little about Seema first. A great radiologist, she has the eye of Arjun in diagnosing a problem. Dr. Vipin Gupta has, after doing his MD in medicine, decided to join the family publishing business, and he started the medical division. The medical division grew, and he has brought out many a prestigious medical book and is an industry leader in his field. I now request Dr. Vipin Gupta of Arya Publishing Company to say a few words.
Honorable Shri Justice Shri N.V. Ramana, Chief Justice of India, Colonel Pant, Dr. Vaneeta Kapur, and all other eminent personalities on the dais. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here for this ambitious launch of the book, Atlas of Breast Elastography and Ultrasound-Guided Fine Needle Cytology. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce ourselves as one of the leading publishers in the field of medical and school books in India. When we started this venture more than 70 years ago, there was one clear goal, that the quality of content that we deliver through our books is sacrosanct and will always be of prime importance in all our endeavors. Over the years, we have nurtured our relationships with our authors who are masters in their respective fields, and our relationship with Colonel Pant is no different. Several years ago, when I first met him, I understood what a powerhouse of knowledge he was, and the idea of collaborating on this project began to take hold. It was a diamond in the rough, just waiting to be discovered. Creation of each book is a unique process by itself, and it involves deep harmony between the publishers and the author's mind. We have been fortunate to have always associated with stalwarts like Colonel Pant, Dr. Kapur, Dr. Sain, who make our work much more enjoyable, and we are all here to witness one such perfect harmony that has resulted in the creation of this magnificent book. As publishers in the highly specialized field of medicine, our goal is always to create books with precise content that meet the needs of the readers. This book is created for a very specific audience in mind, and the agenda is to gain comprehensive knowledge of this subject matter. The book is not just a gem in our collection, but will prove to be a value addition to all those who read it. It is through great collaborations such as this that I got to meet and learn from people like Dr. Colonel Pant, Dr. Vaneeta Kapur, and Dr. Sain. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vipin Gupta. Wonderful words for us. Let me introduce you to Dr. Mrs. Ramesh Sarin, a powerhouse of information, passion, and acumen. Madam, I must tell you that when I got married, my husband Deepak, a then very shy man, often put me in front of people because he would stand behind and say, "Phir banja lal mirch upar muh wali." Your energy is just like that. Enthusiasm and energy are just like that lal mirch. You operate up to 16 hours a day, and you can give any youngster a run for his or her money. Madam is an alumnus of the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Sloan Kettering, and has been operating for over 40 years, ma'am. Am I right? Okay. Her fingers are golden. She can detect even the tiniest of lumps by palpation. I often say that her fingers should be insured, as should her hand, and I'll be the insurer for them. She is the chairman of the NGO Forum for Breast Cancer Protection, through which she has organized several awareness programs, rallies, and camps. A woman with boundless energy. Dr. Sarin, over to you.
Thank you so much. That voice coming? Yeah. Thank you so much, Vaneeta, for all those kind words. I do not know if I deserve them, but anyway, I take it with a great pride. Um, First of all, Justice Ramana, the Chief Justice of India, Dr. Shiv Sarin, the Vice Chancellor of Institute of Hepatobiliary Sciences, Mr. Vipin Gupta, the MD of Agra Publishing House, dear Vaneeta and Dr. Biswajit Sen, and dear friends and colleagues. It's my honor and am privileged to be invited as the guest of honor at Colonel Pant's, Dr. Vaneeta's, and Biswajit Sen's launch of Atlas of Elastography and Fine Needle Aspiration Cytology. Before I deal with the subject of the book, for which I can go on and on, I have to put on record my utmost respect and love for Colonel Pant as a breast radiologist and a professional colleague. He is also a dear friend, and we together felt pain, hurt, were depressed looking at women coming in late stages, the educated, smart, and otherwise well-informed, but not informed about breast cancer. And that's when we, with other colleagues, started a forum for breast cancer protection. The forum main aim is to spread breast cancer. It's not that our NGO has done, but many other NGOs have actually spread a lot of awareness about breast cancer in the metros. And I think more than 60-70% of the women know it, but still we need to go far. Of course, coming to the rural areas, it's still a subject that needs to be discussed. We have produced many educational films, but one of the films is a breast cancer, early detection of breast cancer and breast self-examination. And I request you all to see this film of breast self-examination. It's been projected innumerable number of times, and everyone, and every time I see it, maybe I've seen it 500 times, and every time I see, I just like it. And it's been described in a very simple way for awareness of breast cancer. I do want to share with you that whenever I see an abnormal mammogram with ultrasound, with elastography, and I just close my eyes, literally close my eyes if it is from Colonel Pant's clinic, and I just tell the patient what the patient has. Of course, there are occasions when I don't agree with him, and to tell you that a phone call away and a discussion on the scientific basis without feeling bad about telling him I don't agree with him goes a long way in not missing a single breast cancer, which I can remember throughout my life. In cancer, you know, multidisciplinary communication is the way to correct diagnosis and management. Dr. Vaneeta Kapur, the senior radiologist, as you know, at Colonel Pant's Imaging Center, and Dr. Biswajit Sen are again a phone call away and a discussion. And a multidisciplinary discussion must go not for just the management of breast cancer, but also diagnostic abilities to diagnose a patient. I'll tell you why I say so is that breast cancer is the commonest cancer in females in India. It's also the commonest cancer the world over. It happens to 1 in 7 in the American women or the Western women and 1 in 22 in Indian women. So if I have about 100 women over here, 5 of us will get breast cancer at some time in our lives. And we should really know what preventive tests can be done and what are the early signs so that we can go to the doctor. So far about the patients, about the public, but what about the doctors? That's where the atlas is actually being written down, that we also miss breast cancers. I mean, the doctors also can miss breast cancer. We've seen innumerable, and I think I have one of another person over here having an NGO, and she said, one of the clinicians said that don't worry, there is nothing. So we have professional people also missing it. And that's where the atlas comes in handy. To give you an example, that the total incidence of breast cancer is 160,000 women in India in a year will get breast cancer. 50% of them die because it's a delayed diagnosis, and also maybe 10% of them because we are at fault. Out of this, 20% to 25% of them, which is around 40,000, have the lesions where the mammography and the ultrasound cannot tell us if it is cancer or not. So that amounts to about 40,000 women. And these 40,000 women should not have the knife being put on them and excise the lump, which is wrong as of today. We must have a confirmed diagnosis, whether it's being done for cancer or whether it's done for benign lesions or whether the patient doesn't know it. And if I have an armamentarium like elastography and fine needle aspiration from my radiologist and other colleagues, I am convinced this patient doesn't have the cancer. And I pass on the message, go home, relax, no anxiety, no nothing, you don't have cancer. But if I am not convinced about this BIRATS 4A that Colonel Pant is mentioning and BIRATS 3, I'm vague. पता नहीं है आ जाना 4 महीने बाद में 6 महीने बाद में वो 6 महीने तक सोती नहीं है. So that's where the role of elastography and wherever needed, a fine needle aspiration comes in handy. So out of these 40,000 women, if I can, with the help of elastography, rule out a cancer in 20,000 or 30,000, and just pick up the 10,000, even though the cancer may be in 5,000, but I pick up the 10% and 10,000 and operate, it's quite okay because you don't want to miss a cancer. So that's the magnitude, that's the lesions, those are the things that we need to be aware to use other armamentarium like elastography and fine needle aspiration. You might just say that the West, as Colonel Pant rightly saying, and he actually has stuck his neck out, and he actually has the strength and has the courage to confront the Western people that elastography is a good investigation. It's simple, it's cheap, it can be done easily, it can be trained easily, and it does add value. This is not mentioned in the National Cancer Control Guidelines, but he is confronting them that it should be because he's given examples of the cases in this book. So this book needs to be read by everybody who's dealing with breast cancer or by clinicians to have an idea. If I know which patient may turn out to be cancer, I would obviously operate, and the operation for cancer is different from the benign cancer. So you should not put your knife onto a breast lump where you have no good idea as to what it's going to be. Fine needle aspiration, as Colonel Pant said, there are two kinds of needle biopsies. One is a larger core biopsy, one is a fine needle. Fine needle is simpler, done with a needle like a vaccination. You pull out few cells, you examine under the microscope, and a good cytopathologist can tell you whether it's malignant or not. Fine needle aspiration in breast lumps, in fact, in many lumps in the body, and I'm sure Dr. Shiv Sarin would agree with me that even in liver lesions and in biliary lesions and in hepatic and pancreatic, they only do FNSCs. I mean, it may be ultrasound guided, it may be CT guided. They do an FNSC to find out whether it's cancer or not cancer before they open up a patient. So fine needle aspiration is there to stay, though the Western people have thrown it out of the window. But it's there to stay in our country, and our good ultrasonologists and our good cytopathologists can actually give you the same diagnosis as the core biopsies which the Western people advocate. Of course, breast cancer is a little different area where I do a core biopsy for different reasons, but fine needle aspiration is there to stay. Also, fine needle aspiration in the breast, Colonel Pant, the lymph nodes are usually fine needle aspiration. We don't need core biopsies. It's close to the big vein, so putting a big needle. And again, core biopsy is much more expensive, and it's the test is expensive, the needle is expensive. So fine needle aspiration. So I think the book goes a long way in telling us which is malignant or not in those difficult cases, and which is not cancerous, which one we should operate, which one we should not operate, and which one we should not miss a cancer. I think it's really not ethical, sorry, Justice Ramana. I mean, under the best of breast cancer is the most commonest lawsuit in America because breast cancer is missed. It can be missed in spite of all the investigations, but we should make all efforts with all the investigations available. Just last one word, there are a lot of technological improvements in breast cancer diagnostic armamentarium, like the MRI you must have heard, and like the contrast-enhanced CT scan of the breast and all that. But these newer technologies are more expensive, are more time-consuming. Finances is a problem. The equipment is a problem. The trained people, the technicians, and the people to report is a problem. So it needs to be used only in very selected patients. And sometimes they are over-diagnosed, and so you end up doing unnecessary biopsies. So MRI is a good technique, but the initial ones of elastography, and if need be, the newer techniques can be used. But in the West, of course, it's all the newer, maybe pushed by the industry or whatever. So at the end, I would like to congratulate once again Colonel Pant, Vaneeta, and Dr. Biswajit Sen for a wonderful book and for sticking their neck out and confronting the Western people. And there's no reason why we should not, because we have our own experiences and we have data to support it. So it's an ode to Colonel Pant for having the courage to write this book and to say that it should be included in the National Cancer Guidelines.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So, one size does not fit all. One situation does not fit all. One thing, one country, many contrasts. One India, many Indias. The rich India, the poor India, the limited India, the urban India, the rural India. We all belong. We all belong in a society. So, although core biopsy is the gold standard, FNAC is still here to stay if we have people like Dr. Sen training cytopathologists who don't want to train as cytopathologists. A lot of hard work, looking into that microscope, looking at a slide. Thank you, Dr. Sen, for being with us. It's been an amazing experience getting into those 4 and 3 millimeter and 5 millimeter masses. Let me tell you, when I started out 13 years ago with Dr. Pant, I was looking at the 1 centimeter masses. Working with you has been the most amazing experience. And I know that when we are together, we can do the 4 millimeter and the 5 millimeter, which people say, ye iske andar to ghus hi nahi sakte. And we've done it, and we've proven. Thank you, Dr. Sen, again. Thank you, ma'am. Let me introduce you to a gentleman who needs no introduction at all. His achievements and CV run over several thousands of pages, I think. Dr. Shiv Sarin, an eminent Indian gastroenterologist, hepatologist, scientist, researcher, and teacher. He set up the Institute of Liver and Biliary Sciences and is the Vice Chancellor of ILBS. He also serves as the adjunct faculty of molecular medicine at the Jawaharlal Nehru University or JNU. Formerly professor at GB Pant, Dr. Shiv Sarin has described 2 major liver diseases, path-breaking research. His research on hepatitis B has been phenomenal. Sir, you initiated the hepatitis B vaccination program, and while serving as chairman of the Medical Council of India, the MCI, you proposed guidelines for medical education in this country. Ode to you. And an awardee of several prestigious awards by Singapore, Malaysia, China, Asia Pacific region, and more, he is the awardee of the Padma Bhushan. Your interest in teaching and education is continuous. Published several books on hepatology, used as a reference. Sir has authored 69 chapters and contributed to over 350 journals. Without much ado, as I will never run out of his achievements and accolades, I hand over the mic to Dr. Shiv Sarin.
Thank you for your kind words. It's a great honor for me to share the dais with the Chief Justice of India, Justice Ramana, and to be present with Madam Dr. Sarin. Colonel Pant, thank you for thinking of me and calling me. I just wanted to remind Justice Ramana that it's a unique day you will never forget, sir. You're surrounded by two Sarins. One on your left, one on your right. The right is heavier. And more important for today's function, sir. I have known Colonel Pant for almost 35 years. I thought he was my man, but all the ladies took for breast. I thought he was a liver man. Here comes he is a breast man. Anyway, salutations, Colonel Pant, for your outstanding work in ultrasound. Actually, Timarpur was known because of Colonel Pant. He was in the Inmas, Timarpur, and we all used to work till late hours with Colonel Pant. And Madam, we have known for her work in All India Institute, where I had the privilege of studying for a while. So we know her exemplary skills. And I realize you have in your team a very good BBC announcer, the compare for today. And also, I never knew that publishers as doctors and doctors as publishers. Thank you, Vipin. That's a very good book. And your younger brother also, Deepak, an exceptional radiologist. Also to Madam Ramana for coming here today, because I'm going to tell some very important secrets about Justice Ramana. He's a very religious, very pious, very holy man. Reading about him from newspapers or listening about the Saturday talks that he sometimes gives me, a common man, a hope, a spark, a respect for the country. Thank you, sir, for bringing all this. These are rare moments that are coming from my heart. You give every citizen of India an identity. And that identity by you, that I am Indian. And I'm Indian because this country has law. This country has a system. This country has a place to hear. My Lord, salutations to you. And coming to a doctor's fraternity, he was telling me briefly, I'm the only odd man here who doesn't know. I said, that is why you're here, sir. We all may be biased, and judges are never biased. They give unbiased opinions. For some of you who have come here, I'll tell you about the real secret of elastography. And the book is titled Elastography. Actually, how many of you are fond of cheese? Please raise hands. Everybody? All right. So you have to know about elastography. Elastography is based on sound. You send sound, let's say you send sound here, it will come back fast, like it hits the wood. If you sound with your hand, it is soft, it will take longer time. So in 90s, how to find the cheese is good or bad. So the French people discovered this simple machine. They'll put it on cheese. If the cheese is hard, it will come back fast, the sound. If cheese is soft, it will take long. So without puncturing the cheese, they will just put this small probe, like this ultrasound probe. You put it on that thing, and oh, this cheese is soft, you can eat. This cheese is hard, it is old. And somehow, some intelligent mind used that for elastography. We use it for liver, you use it for breast, you use it for thyroid, now you can use it for pancreas. So there are 4 major inventions. First time ultrasound came, then CT scan came, MRI came, and now elastography. In the journey of knowing, elastography is the 4th of this, but it is probably the most important. The reason is, if you are, at least for me, liver aadmi ho na, liver wala, thoda thoda. So if your liver is soft, we will say heart is soft. All organs are soft. If liver is hard, your heart is hard, kidney is hard, brain is hard. So today we decide, for at least us, that liver is hard, isko diabetes hoegi, isko blood pressure hoga, isko kidney disease hogi. So if our liver stiffness is above 8, this guy is going to have problems. So very simple method of finding out about the stiffness, and you have converted into cancer, which is remarkable. So my compliments to Colonel Pant and the team for bringing out this exceptional and timely book. And it will not get old because it has cases. Cases never get old. Science can, but 145 cases हैं, आप पढ़ लो 145 और उससे कितने multiple cases you will benefit. So hats off and compliments and congratulations. But since the Honorable Chief Justice is here, I would like to put up some pleas before you, sir, on behalf of all the doctors here. First, foremost, protect the doctors, sir. If there is a case which a lawyer loses, the best of the lawyers who charge 5 crores for one appearance and we guys hardly get 5 rupees, there is an appeal. But for doctors, there is no appeal. This side or that side. Therefore, the margin of errors have to be accepted. So negligence and other such cases must be dealt with a difference. And therefore, my first request on behalf of everyone is to be kind and protect doctors. My second request to you, sir, and if you get or your team gets any time, is to make organ donation a necessity. It's not easy, sir. No, none of us can take our organs to heaven. They are burnt or buried. But thousands of people die because no transplants can be done. And there is no system, and I would like and urge you to maybe, and we can, if you permit, we can initiate that debate. How can organ donation be made easy and people can donate with comfort, sir? We cannot donate. Sir, in Spain, out of 1 million, maybe 80 people donate. In India, 0.5 per million donate. So people die, no kidney, no liver, no heart, and they die because their organ is finished. So my humble request is to take this as a social movement sometime and facilitate this. My third request is when you look at everything should be equal. Now, an IIT engineer reads 4.5 years, or any other degree gets 4.5 years. Then they apply for a UPSC or any other job. They will get a job of an assistant professor after 4 or 6 years, while a doctor reads for 10 years and he gets an assistant professor. And he, I was going to say the next, he doesn't get a job. But suppose he is lucky to get a job. There must be a system, number of years of education. You should get X number of promotions. So if you have done 6 years, you get this. See, everyone is with me, sir. If you have studied 10 years, you should get 4 promotions. And this can be mandated because this is justice. We are not asking you, sir, anything other than justice. I'm not going to ask too many things, sir. Just 3 things. We all want you to live healthy and Shatayu. We want you to have your blessings in whichever form, wherever you are. You and your religion, you and your vision, you and your work will be remembered. We are very privileged that Colonel Pant made it possible for you and Madam to come here and be with doctors and always be with doctors, sir. Thank you.
What fantastic words. I think all the doctors in the audience are clapping away. And it is indeed 3 simple requests, which I'm sure the Chief Justice of India is listening to. And as we know, he is a listener. We know every decision, everything is thought of. And like Dr. Shiv Sarin said, we in this country get justice. And that's a huge thing, huge thing. Our chief guest, as you know today, is none other than the esteemed Honorable Shri Justice N.V. Ramana, Chief Justice of India. Born to a Telugu-speaking agrarian family in Krishna district in Andhra Pradesh, Honorable N.V. Ramana started his life, his professional life, as a journalist with a local newspaper. He enrolled as an advocate in the year 1983 and practiced at the Andhra High Court, Central and Andhra Pradesh Administrative Tribunals and the Supreme Court of India, handling civil, criminal, labor, and election matters. No wonder he has this huge, huge experience in his life. He has also served as the Additional Advocate General of the state of Andhra Pradesh. He was appointed Chief Justice, Delhi High Court, and then became a Supreme Court judge in the year 2014. He was appointed to the highest post of this country, the Chief Justice of India, in April of 2021. Sir, we are proud of you. He was sworn into office by the President of India, Ramnath Kovind, at the Rashtrapati Bhavan on 24th of April, 2021. Honorable Shri Justice N.V. Ramana is known for his speaking the truth, being courageous, sticking out his neck, and standing for right. He continues unfettered and fearless in taking a stance, whether it is about police, civilians, bureaucracy, and now doctors. He stands tall, head held high on his own merit. Empowerment of women, education of women, very high on his priority. A simple, like Dr. Shiv Sarin said, spiritual and a religious man. What touched me was when Dr. Pant and I went to give him the card and invite at his residence, he and his wife came right up to the car to say goodbye to us. It was embarrassing, but it speaks volumes of the humility of this gentleman. He loves to read. Avidly, he reads on social causes and autobiographies. Thank you, sir, and to Madam Shivamala for coming today. Madam, you are the man behind him. Thank you.
Dr. Col CS Pant, Dr. Vaneeta Kapur, Dr. Shiv Sarin, Dr. Madam Ramesh Sarin, Dr. Vipin Gupta, other distinguished guests, doctors, media friends, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's good evening. And thanks to Dr. Sarin, Dr. Pant, and Madam Vaneeta Kapur for saying so many things about me. And I really moved by your gesture of praising me. I don't know whether I deserve it or not. Dr. Sarin made an excellent case, argued more than a senior counsel who charged lakhs of rupees for appearance. Argues days together to make out a point in the courts. But in a few minutes, he has made out his case on 3 important issues. And I'm happy to note those important issues. Almost whatever the issues he has raised, first, I can say that they are all pending before courts. And particularly about the attacks on doctors, and protection of doctors, and malprosecutions, etc. is a bill pending, as well as the education also one of the issues which I always wonder, because my daughter is a doctor. I know how much she struggled, and I discouraged so much. And while she is preparing for this medical entrance examination in intermediate, I used to switch off the lights after 10 o'clock, don't read more than after 10. Because I know that it's a very hard work. It takes years to get recognition in the profession, not like other professions and other jobs. So I used to say her, why you want to be a doctor? See, how I am happy and arguing cases and getting a lot of money every day. I used to tell her, of course, I came from a middle-class farmers agriculture family, and there's nobody in my family as lawyers and all that. I started my career on my own. Even then, on the day beginning, I used to have to go by a scooter, and within less than a year time, I got a car. So every day when I cross the next to our high court compound, there is a gynec hospital, government gynec hospital. And a lot of young doctors, they used to stand in the bus stand wearing the aprons, white coats, hours together waiting for a bus. Juniors like us, within 1 year standing, we used to go in a cars. So I have given that example. You see, you come with me, I will show how these doctors are waiting in bus stands, hours together to get a bus to go home, working from morning to evening. It's really, but in spite of my best efforts and persuasion, she said, no, I want to be a doctor. So I said, all right. So finally, I am very happy to note that she is under the guidance of Dr. Sarin from the last 2 years. She also contributed something to this book. I am happy. And more than anything, the commitment made by her, and after working with Dr. Pant, that the amount of understanding about the society and the system, and she's not fond of money and not interested in working the good corporate hospitals where she can earn money. I said that no, I want to work with Pant only, because more than anything, I had the satisfaction of serving people. I'm happy. Thank Mr. Pant to train her in this thing. Coming back to the speech, I already mentioned with Dr. Sarin, who is my best friend, and we had not only about medical issues, we both share so many other things whenever we get an occasion. It is difficult to get Sarin, and I am also the same position now. In spite of that, we used to exchange our thoughts about the issues pending in the society, several other issues, not medical issues. So I told him that I'm only the odd person, all our doctors, this side, that side, in front of me. So I don't know whether I'm a fit person to talk anything about the present day occasion. But however, I try to read out my speech because nowadays it is a big difficulty. I have observed, and whenever I deliver my speech extempore, the problem is wrong quotings and misleading, nowadays. So better to avoid unnecessary that controversies. I put all whatever I want to say in a few lines in writing, and I want to read out that. I had a pleasure for me to, in the midst of distinguished and eminent doctors and experts in the field. Perhaps yours is the only profession which follows Gandhiji principle, that is, service to man is service to God. I am not a person who had much knowledge, even though I am a science graduate. But I want to take this as an opportunity to tell you a few things about the healthcare system in this country. First of all, let me congratulate Dr. Colonel Pant and Vaneeta Kapur for bringing this wonderful book, that is Atlas of Breast Elastography and Ultrasound Guided Fine Needle Cytology. It is authored by 3 eminent doctors, 2 radiologists and 1 pathologist. So with their rich experience in years in the field of radiology and pathology, they have brought this book, which is a guide for the radiologists as well as pathologists across the world. And particularly, it reflects the effective way of this FNAC, fine needle aspiration, as a cost-effective technique in finding out the breast masses, about the cancer cells. Particularly in a country like us, where more than 70% of the population reside in rural areas where they doesn't have the minimum basic needs, forget about the comfort of having a corporate hospital or something. Primary health centers also doesn't have properly equipped. If there is a primary health center, there is no doctor. There is a doctor, there is no primary health center. If both are there, there is no medicines. This is the situation in this country. So in this scenario, I think this type of techniques with a little ultrasound guided finding out the cancer at the preliminary stage is very, very helpful, which is a cost effective. And you all know that 50% of the population in our country or across the world are women, and they are backbone to the family as well as the society. So we must give equal importance and attention of their health also. The main reason of women who are hesitant to undergo any tests is also one of the reasons. People, particularly women in house, they take care of everyone's health except their health. And so it is the duty of the other family members, particularly the husband, children, to force her to go regular checkups. So at least she will be in a position to understand about her body, her health, and other things. We will realize the value of wife or mother when she is no more. I I realize even though my mother passed away at the age of 86, till date I feel that I feel the loss of my mother. So each family must recognize the importance of the housewife who takes care of the entire family. This is my request, and it is all our duty, particularly the people who are in the society who are influential, who can make up, or you can create a opinion makers, celebrities, and influential persons, doctors, NGOs. It is our duty to propagate and educate about the awareness. This is the most important things which I believe. Some figures which I have gathered yesterday, it's very unfortunate. In India particularly, every 4 minutes, one woman is diagnosed with breast cancer. Breast cancer is the most common cancer in women. 27.7% of all new cancers detected in women in the year 2018 were breast cancers. Every 8 minutes, one woman dies because of the breast cancer. 87,090 women died of breast cancer in the year 2018, which is the second highest number in the world. And around 32% of new cases belongs to age group of 25 to 49 years of age. So we had wrong myths or opinions or information saying that only women who got after 50 years, they got the cancer. This is a wrong notion. Nowadays, we are hearing the cases, very young girls are also getting breast cancers. And some notion that only people whose family has the breast cancer or some cancer, they will get breast cancer, which is also not correct. We have seen number of other cancers also. I know one of my best friend who doesn't even take tea, coffee, he got a lung cancer. So these are all myths. We don't know, I don't know, I am not expert. I think doctors has to say, I think still we are probing the real cause for these dreaded disease. So my humble request is, particularly the doctors, gynecologists who are in the field, that they must create awareness, because cervical cancer, which is the most prevalent in women, was reduced and declined because of the active support of the gynecologists in this country. Same way, now we have to give importance to the breast cancer also. And socio-economic conditions in our country, and the treatment, cost of the treatment, and the other myths about the stigma, inhibitions. These are all the factors which are contributing the cancer, particularly the breast cancer. So I summarize, there are 4-5 points in the reasons which reads corrective measures. That is, one is the need of the hour is to generate awareness. 2, it is essential to design breast cancer awareness campaign in the scale of cervical cancer, anti-tobacco and pulse polio campaign. Celebrities and famous personalities should be involved. The mass media plays a significant role in disseminating information. Third, it is very important to educate young minds about reproductive health in schools. A start would be made immediately. Another challenge associated with the disease is various myths associated with it. Social workers must work to remove existing stigmas and taboos. Early detection and screening will definitely prevent casualties. Irrespective of their age or family history, women should be encouraged to undergo periodical screenings. Families must also be sensitized. Medical infrastructure needs to be augmented for diagnosis, monitoring, guidance, and management of the disease. Primary healthcare centers lack of even basic amenities and infrastructure. Additionally, there is also lack of affordable treatment options, etc. 8, women belonging to the marginalized sections lack access to information, diagnosis and treatment of the disease. We need interventions and strategies addressing inequities of cancer screening and treatment in India. If this disease is to be tackled effectively, the government has to step in a big way. The government must give a boost to the medical infrastructure and research. Government has to explore the possibility of involving corporates to use their CSR policies for providing health care in rural areas. Ultimately, a roadmap is necessary to take up this issue. The Health Ministry, Government of India must involve NGOs, doctors, and industrialists to prepare a roadmap. Now, I request the gynecologist the responsibility, because the first point of contact of women is the gynecologist, so they have to create awareness in women. Before that, I want to pay my tributes to the unending spirit of doctors who work tirelessly round the clock for their patients. We have seen hundreds of doctors who lost their life during this pandemic. Doctors are mentors, guides, friends, and counselors. They should always remain active members of society and solve problems faced by the people. Vaidyo Narayano Hari is the most apt way to describe doctors. I am extremely saddened to witness rising violence against doctors. Several false cases are being lodged against upright and hardworking doctors. They need a better and more secure working environment. This is where professional medical associations assume great significance. They are to proactive in highlighting the demands of doctors. Now, coming back to, I can say, hero of the day, that Dr. Colonel Pant, who has provided me this opportunity, I thank him. And Dr. Colonel Pant is almost synonymous with the breast imaging scenario in India. For our 4 decades, he has been mentoring young radiologists across the country. He is a pioneer of breast imaging and interventions in India. He is the founder president of Breast Imaging Society. His humble personality and healing touch are known to all. Despite having a very successful private practice, Dr. Pant never disassociated himself from social causes. For over a decade, he has devoted his time and energy by actively engaged with the NGO Arohi, which works for the social development of the Kumaon region of Uttarakhand. In recognition of his work, Dr. Pant has received many awards and honors for his professional and social contributions. Dr. Vaneeta Kapur is indispensable part of this endeavor. Through her diverse experience on both the corporate as well as the charitable side for over 3 decades, she has unparalleled proficiency in the field of breast cancer. Dr. Biswajit Sen, with more than 3 decades of experience, stands as one of the most renowned pathologists of present times. I am also extremely proud of contribution made by my daughter, Dr. Bona, in the successful compilation of this book. I also thank the publisher, Dr. Vipin Gupta, for coming out of these books. I wish him great success. Before I end, I would like to quote Thomas Edison. I quote, "The doctor of the future will give no medicine, but will interest his patients in the care of human frame, diet, and in the cause and prevention of disease." Thank you very much for giving this opportunity.
What wonderful words. What wonderful words. Unparalleled speech and great for all of us to hear. A humble man, and you can see a man with humble beginnings, and where he is, his humility knows no bounds. Thank you, sir. Now, finally, for the vote of thanks. No function is complete, unfortunately, with this customary vote of thanks. Although I know I stand between you and the cocktails and fellowship on the other side, which will be served indoors, this is a pleasant duty. This is a pleasant duty I must perform on behalf of Dr. Pant, Dr. Sen, and I. First, I would request the mementos. Can we have the mementos, please? Is Karuna there? Could I ask Dr. Bhuvna to kindly present the memento and a potted plant to Dr. Mrs. Sarin and to Dr. Shiv Sarin, the two Sarins. Thank you. Thank you, Bhuvna. Had the pleasure of working with this wonderful girl, and she's just a dynamite, Dr. Shiv Sarin. You know, for the longest time, when people would ask Bhuvna where she stayed, she said near Connaught Place. So when they would say, how far from Connaught Place? We also go there. So she says, close by. So people would say, Connaught Place, how do you go? By car. So, so when she moved from Connaught Place to Connaught Place, she said, I'm moving from one house in Connaught Place to another house in Connaught Place. That's Bhuvna for you, a humble girl of a humble father. I would now request Colonel Pant to give a token of our appreciation, a memento to the Chief Justice of India, Shri Ramana. Thank you, sir, and thank you for having Bhuvna work with us. So like I said, this customary vote of thanks has to go on. And I had forgotten the mementos, but my mentor came and said, memento, memento, memento. So thank you, sir. I must first thank our chief guest, Honorable Shri Justice N.V. Ramana, the Chief Justice of India, and his wife, Madam Shivamala Nuthalapati, our guests of honor, Dr. Shiv Sarin and Dr. Mrs. Ramesh Sarin, our publisher, Dr. Vipin Gupta of Arya Publishing Company, Karuna Sharma of Portrait Advertising, who magically and seamlessly puts everything together with a smile, Neha, who has shared the YouTube link with us, the staff of India International Center, especially Chef Vijay and Mr. Arun of CBO, our colleagues, all of you here today, our team of doctors from Fortis, thank you all for being present and thank you for always being there. Ritu, I never forget your contribution. Staff of our clinic, all of them here, our friends and family. Last but not least, I would like to thank my guide, late Dr. V.N. Bejel of Safdarjung Hospital. We lost him last year. And my father, late Harish Verma, a geophysicist who always pushed me to greater academic excellence. His words ring in my ears at my graduation when he told Deepak, you know, we used to get married much younger then. Deepak is my husband. And he said, Deepak is a non-medico. He said, promise me you will always let her do what she wants. Promise to let her study. Promise to let her follow her passion. And he did. This is for you, Dad. Please join us for cocktails. They'll be served indoors.